The abolition of all ordered government. How do they plan to do it? Through party dissension, liberalism, and an imbalanced constitution. And I think they've been succeeding at that, haven't they? Why? According to their own writing, so a new constitution may replace the old one. Right now, one of the leading advocates for a constitutional convention, the biggest one, what is his name? It just went through my mind. Ross Perot, thank you. If they get their way, your constitution isn't going to be worth the paper it's written on. Not that it's really being observed anyways, but at least now it'll be legal. The second part of their plan called for the abolition of all private property. Listen how they plan to do this one. We shall create by all the secret subterranean methods open to us, and with the aid of gold, which is all in our hands, a universal economic crisis whereby we shall throw upon the streets whole mobs of workers simultaneously in all the countries of Europe. These mobs will rush delightedly to shed the blood of those whom, in the simplicity of their ignorance, they have envied from their cradles, and whose property they will then be able to loot. It is essential, therefore, for us, at whatever cost, to deprive them of their land. This object will be best attained by increasing the burdens upon landed property, in loading lands with debts. These measures will check land holding and keep it in a state of humble and unconditional submission. Why do you think you people are being taxed to death? Why do you think the federal government have been taking away all the parks away? Why do you think they've been literally bankrupting the farmers? Why do you think they have that expression, eminent domain? They plan to take away everyone's private property. Because if you don't own it, well, you're not the, you've got to answer to someone, and that's the landlord. And in this case, it would be the government or the Illuminati. How do they intend to abolish private property? Through bribery, deceit, treachery, and an economic crisis. Why? To secure submission and sovereignty. Do you know, if I could control what you could buy or what you could sell, I've got you exactly where I want you. You can't do anything without my permission. But we're going to get into this. I think we all know what I'm talking about. Abolition of inheritance. How do they intend to get rid of inheritance? The rich must be aware that it is their duty to place a part of their superfluities at the disposal of the state, since the state guarantees them security of possession of the rest of their property and the right of honest gains. I say honest, for the control over property will do away with robbery on a legal basis. Therefore, we must not stop at bribery, deceit, and treachery when they should serve towards the attainment of our end. In politics, one must know how to seize the property of others without hesitation, if by it we secure submission and sovereignty. So that's what the political game is all about. Purchase, receipt of money, or inheritance will be subject to the payment of a stamped progressive tax. Any transfer of property, whether money or other, without evidence of payment of this tax, which will be strictly registered by names, will render the former holder liable to pay interest on the tax from the moment of transfer of these sums up to the discovery of his evasion of declaration of the transfer. try to get away with it. This next one is one of my favorite ones on this part. Just strike an estimate of how many times such taxes as these will cover the revenue of the chattel states. Do you realize, if any of you have a piece of property that you want to leave behind to someone, let's say you have to pay $5,000 worth of taxes on it. Well, you've worked hard to pay for that land. You paid taxes on it every year. You give that over to the person, and upon your death it becomes their property. Well, do you know, after all that sweat and toil that you put into acquiring this, they now have to put in an additional $5,000 worth of taxes. And after they die and they give it to someone, they're going to have to pay $5,000 worth of taxes. And this is going to go on and on and on, non-stop. This is why they have these crazy taxes. Simply because they have got you on a merry-go-round that you cannot get off of. How do they intend to abolish inheritance? Through unfair, high burden of taxes. Why? To take away your revenue. Do you know most people would never be able to pay those taxes? Especially if, if it's not a time payable type of tax. Those people are going to have to forfeit their land or whatever property they have to Big Brother. And I mean, trust me, they do it in a split second. They've already done it to how many parks is it now? 47, I think we've lost to them. I think it's something like that. And they're just going to keep taking and keep taking and keep taking until it's all theirs. Unless, of course, we start, sounding the warning horn and start getting everyone's attention. Because I'll grant you, a small group of people, well, we can't do a thing. But I think if we got everyone backing us, behind us, I think the government would be in for the surprise of their life. Abolition of all patriotism. How did Dr. Adam Weishaupt write about this one? It is with this object in view that we are constantly by means arising a blind confidence in these theories, which our agent specialists have cunningly pieced together for the purpose of educating their minds in the direction we want. Do not suppose for a moment that these statements are empty words. Think carefully of the successes we arranged for Darwinism, Marxism, and Nietzscheism. They openly admit to being the authors to the success of these ideologies.